Hello, I'm Nathan Judah. I'm here with Wolves reporter Mr. Joe Edison. Very cold, very bitter Molineux. Look, devastating day for Wolves, both on and off the pitch, really, Joe. Let's start with, I guess, the hardest news to take. And unfortunately for Wolves, that's not the defeat. Johnny Castro-Otto has injured the same knee, ACL and MCL, out for the season, out for a long time, and just a horrific blow really for the player as much as anything, but also for the club, and yeah, it's just thoughts and prayers go out to him at this moment in time.
Yeah, such a difficult one to take. The rumours just hope that they weren't true, but yeah, they are. He sustained the injury in training on Sunday, and he's going to be very much missed. You know, while he's out again, he's Wolves are a much better team when he's in it. But if there's anybody who can pull through, you know, suffering that injury for the second time in 8 months, it's him, because, you know, we've seen it time and again, his character, his desire, and yeah, all the best to him.
Yeah, look, and that wasn't the only news. We found out before kick-off as well with Willy Boly tested positive for COVID this morning. João Moutinho injured as well. That's why he didn't take part tonight. I mean, even before a ball was kicked, it was terrible, really, wasn't it? The news.
It was, and
disrupted plans.
And then we saw the back four. And I mean, Nuno said afterwards on Sunday morning he was planning to have both Willy Boly and Johnny in the team. Johnny gets injured in training. Boly tests positive this morning for COVID. So very difficult situation. But even so, Wolves defended very poorly tonight.
Yeah.
And you know, regardless of who's on the pitch, whether it's tonight, Nuri coming in the side or Saiss or Cody in the back line, they've got to do better. And you know, it wasn't all bad. I mean, second half, brilliantly taken goal by Silva. Dendoncker finally gets off the mark as well late in the first, but you can't defend like that if you want to win games of football. You're going to get punished at this level. Jesse Lingard was brilliant, but the played into his hands, gave him too much respect.
Yeah, I mean, look, for as good as West Ham were, Wolves just all over the shop. The two centre-backs were disappointing, but I mean, the full-backs weren't giving them any protection. They were just running through Dendoncker and Neves to start with. I mean, every single attack, and it could have been 3 or 4 or 5. I mean, it's 3-0 after 38 minutes, but it could have been 4 or 5, and yet, ironically, Wolves might be slightly aggrieved at the end of this game that they didn't come away with a point.
Yeah, it was a crazy game of football, but ultimately that 30-35 minutes of just defensive horror show was costly. And you look at the goals and you say the first one, Lingard, magical solo run, but Dendoncker has the chance to trip him, take him down. I think
West Ham did it, every other team does it with Traore.
I think that's something that it was very obvious in this game, because they had the chance for each of the goals really to just give Lingard a kick, take a booking, regroup, set yourselves back up. But I think Wolves have got a bit of a soft underbelly. They need a bit more edge in their game, and it's been apparent at different times this season, you know, when they've played Burnley and some of the more physical teams. I think a big reason why West Ham are up there, yes, they are talented, but they're not afraid to mix it up. And you know, Wolves have got to switch on to that. They could have avoided those goals had they just been a bit more streetwise. You know, not taking anything away from Lingard, he was brilliant again. He's been fantastic for them, but Wolves just completely catered to him.
And then a great piece of skill from Adama Traore to Dendoncker. That's kind of the Dendoncker that we want to see. A bit more like Southcheck, you know, box to box, and he scores a header, and a brilliant run from Traore. And it's a shame that I guess it won't get the credit it deserves looking back on this game, because it'll be one of frustration. But that's exactly what you want to see. Gives Wolves a chance. They score again. Fabio Silva again impressed. I thought, coming on for. Well, came on and then Jose came off, and you got to look at it now, and you got to think before Raul. We don't know when Raul is going to come back, but we're hoping this season. Nuno's confident still that we'll see him this season. But between now and then, Fabio Silva with the goal, and you know, he knows where the back of the net is. He's obviously a good finisher. We've said that before. That he's got a chance to start games now.
He must start, no question for me. I don't think it's even up for debate anymore. I mean, he just summed it up when Jose has the ball bounced through him kindly in the box. All he needs to do is put his foot through it. He's got a shot on target. Instead, he turns away from goal and says, "Oh, who else wants it?" And the chance is gone. Silva, meanwhile, brings the through ball down from Neto, puts it into the corner, and shows his confidence. And That's it. There's not a question for me anymore. I think Jose's had enough time to show what he's about, and he hasn't shown enough.
Daniel Podence was the good news that he came back today. 45 minutes again, that was pre-planned before Fabio came on. But I thought he did he looked pretty lively as well, and I think he will help. Won't he? He'll help. As much as we can talk about the back and talk about the frail. I think it's the right system to play going forward. But you need the players to play there. You know what I mean? You need the quality. But going forward in that three, when you look at Podence and you look at Neto and Traore, those are the kind of attackers you want to see. Hopefully up top with Raul, and Wolves look dangerous, and they've always looked like dangerous when they can score goals when they play that three in behind the striker.
Well, they threatened all evening going forward, and I mean, as you say, by the end, Neto's blazed one over when Dawson basically gave it straight to him. Dendoncker put another one over from the edge of the box. They could have came away with a point, as crazy as it sounds, but yeah, it's just finding that happy medium, because every time Wolves play a back four, they look good going forward, but they look absolutely dreadful at the back, really, to be honest.
And the issue is, Joe, going into Fulham. Don't export. Obviously, Johnny's not going to be available. Willy Bolly almost certain not to be available as well if he tested positive this morning. Jean Martini probably not available. So you're going to have the same amount of players, the same type of players going to Fulham who are scrapping for their lives. And look, we all think Wolves will be fine. However, you don't want to go and lose to Fulham on a Friday night, do you, either?
Well, no, I mean,
you've got to play better than that, because if you play like the opening half an hour here, well, Fulham will score 2 or 3 past you as well. Absolutely, no doubt.
Exactly. You can't defend like that. Any team will, have joy and pick you off if you're just going to let them run past you and not never mind make the tackle, but not even try to make the tackle. I think the Dendoncker one, the first goal, instead of kind of just clipping his heels, he's even got his kind of hands up or not. Just take the man. Take the man. I know it can be cynical and it might not be everybody's cup of tea, but I think there's got to be more of that. There's got to be more street rise, and just if you've got to kick someone, kick someone.
Look, going into that game, do we see the 4-2-3-1 again? Do you change it and go a little bit more defensive? Do you bring Max Kilman back in there and go back to a back 5 or a back 3 as you look at it? Do you go 4-4-2 and play Jose and Silva? I guess there's options there to be had, and a lot will depend on, 1, how these players have recovered, and 2, where Podence is in how many minutes they're going to give him.
I think 3-4-3 I'm leaning towards, maybe with Kilman back in there, but then Silva up top. It's a difficult one. It's just they've got to sharpen up defensively regardless, but every time they've played a 4, they've looked poor at the back. And when they've reverted to a 3, they've looked more solid. I know it's come at the cost of attacking, but I don't know. It's one for Nuno to juggle, but good to see Silva off the mark. But pleased for him, after a while, and just got to defend better against Fulham, because if they defend like that, they'll be punished again.
Podcast tomorrow, Wolves 2, West Ham 3 for all the post-match reaction. Make sure you log on to expressandstar.com.